Is there, not to put you on the spot, Alden, is there a counter argument to this that we're not seeing?
I mean, I couldn't just, I was going to ask if the timeline of this was true, like if what they were saying in that clip like played out the way that they said, where it's like, hey, like if you give us your enriched uranium, like we'll ease up or whatever, and then they like go
Right.
to make that happen, and then they get bombed anyway. Because I was stuck on, if that's truly how it was going down,
Yeah.
then that feels like a bully that's like, give me your lunch money, or I won't give you a wedgie. And then like the kid starts fishing around in his pockets for money, and he fucking wedgies him and takes his money. Like,
Right.
it
And
just,
so I see
so if
MS
it's like that,
now.
it doesn't look good. I don't know.
Yeah, if it's exactly like it was presented there, it doesn't look good. But I see MS now, and their slant is always one particular way,
Right.
one particular way, and then just that the British, I don't the British are historically a little bit shady with a number of things, especially when it comes to Trump. They have been they were behind a lot of that Russian collusion stuff in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's a lot of context that I think is missing there that it looks damning. That I do wonder what
I
I do
wasn't super
wonder
fond
the
of
truth to that.
what the BBC did in the war on terror and that whole era, and like 9/11 and how they reported on some of that, and that gave me some like insight. And so I don't trust them like any more than our media, really.
No,
Just
no,
as a side comment.
not since 1776. I've never
Yeah.
haven't trusted those Brits. But yeah, it goes back to this whole idea of the media that we consume is what can we believe, what can't we believe? It's when stuff satisfies our confirmation bias, it can make it easy to not pursue information that might undermine what we are preconditioned to believe, because it's more uncomfortable to feel cognitive dissonance and learn something new
Hmm.
than it is to satisfy what we think we know. And
Or to be like socially alienated, like
yeah,
to go out on a limb and
uh-huh,
get pushback from your friends and family and because we're like a social species.
yep,
And to be like, it's that feeling of exile. And like if you're
yeah,
out like on the plank alone, I think that was honestly, there's like this survivalist thing where I think we're really inclined to want to be accepted by the group because that's safety and numbers kind of a thing. And it was like a death sentence to be exiled
it really is.
socially
Yep.
at one point in our timeline. And so I really think that there's between cognitive dissonance and that social alienation feeling to be like truly an outlier and to be able to hold your ground on a principle and to not bend your principle to fit something like we were talking about with like whether it's the party or whatever's flipping around, or if it's like just something that you grew up with and you don't want to lose the respect of the people around you or whatever. These are powerful like psychological principles at play. And I think there's a lot of entities that understand this and how to manipulate us through this.
100%. They've been, what's up, Tony? They've been studying this stuff for long before most of us are even aware of it. Like you have a 100-year advantage when it comes to studying social psychology, and you can read the propaganda books back in the day. The stuff that Edward Bernays wrote about 100 years ago applies perfectly today. The guy, people have the image of John McCain with a hard on through his grave. Nobody's got a bigger hard on through their grave than dead Edward Bernays right now. This is his wet dream that we're living right now. He once said that he was so excited about the rise of cinema because you could reach mass audiences far quicker. And he said it's like being in a room with one person whispering in their ear and speaking to an entire world. Imagine social media to that when it comes to that, the way you can communicate. And that's why I think that they didn't even care about trying to build up the war support beforehand, because I think they're confident in their ability to test a bunch of different explanations afterwards,
Yeah, and
see
they've
what the
seen what they
public
can get
appeal
away
is. Yeah.
with
And then
other
just pick the
things.
one that most people are okay with and
Yeah.
go with it. Have you guys spoken to people who are pro the war? I haven't. My friends that I suspect have been a little bit quiet, and so I haven't
I
got
was
to.
gonna say the same thing, that it's I haven't like officially asked, and no one's like officially. I think most of the people that know me know not to even bring shit like this up to me at this point. But
Yeah,
so it's fresh enough that I'm not even sure where they officially stand on it. But what about you, Nick?
yeah. Our internet friends all kind of fall on the same spectrum as us, so nothing there. The only other thing would be people I at work I bring it up too, and not many are fans of Israel, and so
Fair enough. Yeah.
they
Yeah, right.
This actually might
so
be the one area that I like agree with some of my family. I will see, but if they are still actually, you know, like anti-war in general, and like if they're still not, some of them are like not, you know, my sister at least or whatever, like has seemed to not be big fans of Israel or in the past or whatever. So like I might not have as much uh like as a friction point between some of the people that I often disagree with other things about like freedom of speech and the whole like COVID was like a whole thing that I was like, okay, I guess I'm alone on this one, you know. But I
Yeah,
might be
right.
as different between for my personal circle with this topic. I'm not sure yet though.
Let me ask you guys this, and we'll get to the drunkard of the week.
Mm.
Is do you guys feel, or have you noticed that there is people taking the anti-Israel, not a fan of Israel position to the
Mhm.
extreme of all the Jews are the problem?
Oh, no, we've addressed this, or I've brought this up that I constantly try to reframe that they're not the same thing. The same way that if I critique my nation, I'm not critiquing all of the American people or a culture or a religion or whatever, and that I feel like I wish I didn't have to, but I often reiterate that a critique of a nation is not a critique of a people,
Yeah.
and that has in my mind seriously nothing to do. Well, I don't want to say. I mean, they're linked, I guess, but like it's not at the core of any of the decision making that I make. But I
Nick,
hope it's not as big a
what
thing.
about you? Have you seen this going on around any social medias you're on?
I mean, yeah, you catch this on the social media. I think there's been a huge rise in it. And yeah, I've always tried to say Israel. I never say the
Mhm.
Jews this, the Jews
Yep,
that, right? You know,
Yeah,
that's
right.
I agree.
'cause
I've
I
never
am
said that.
focused. I am focused on the policy of Israel, and that's kind
And
of
you're
where the focus
7K shill,
goes.
obviously.
Yeah.
But like that reasonable response you gave, that often that gets, whether it's bot activity or real people, it often gets a response like
A
that.
lot
It's
of the times, that's a
nuance.
good
Yeah.
point. It is bot activity a lot of the time. Like the
Mhm.
people that are stirring up the most shit, if you click on their account that has no photo and 2 followers or whatever, and yeah,
Right.
like, and I noticed a trend that it would be like a photo. They started to put a photo, but it was like this weird AI mashup of some random person's face on a movie frame, like from the Terminator or some shit. But it would stick some woman's
Right.
face on to Sarah Connor in the Terminator or some shit. Like, and it would have 3 followers, and they would be just throwing out some racist shit. And you're like, why? What is the, you know? But then you got to ask who's in charge of this and like who stands to benefit from this, and just stirring up. Anyway, it's
Well, I think
ugly, but it's
we
happening.
think we talked about it a little bit last week or the other week or whatever. That like you see this, you see a lot of activity from certain accounts that originate from certain places.
Certain places, yeah.
Well, because now that you can see where the account's
Mm-hmm.
based in on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's where all
you
the
find a
farms
lot.
are.
And so you see a whole lot of random stuff comes from accounts based in India. Although
Mm-hmm.
what you find there is a lot of pro-Israeli propaganda that comes out of the accounts based in India.
But it's probably more just who's paying them. I don't know if it has anything to do with their political affiliations in as a nation of India or
Yeah,
whatever.
It's
I'm
like the
not.
call
I'm
center version of social
Yeah,
media.
right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because like,
Like if
yeah, go ahead.
if you and I think they're supposed to be working on that. If you can filter, accounts based in and filter out India, I think Twitter looks very, very different.
That would be
Man,
interesting.
yeah. Because right now it's most social media is a cesspool, but Twitter has gotten to the point where it's
I'm
either
not even on
bot
Twitter.
activity or it's people jumping on the bandwagon of bot activity, and
It does stir up organic response though, so that's
definitely,
true too. That
absolutely,
like if
it's
you
all the
trace it
bandwagon
back,
effect, man.
yeah,
Like
yep,
it works,
yep.
and so
Unfortunately,
you have these people who are jumping on the bandwagon of saying more and more extreme things that you never would have been. So you have the right, you have more of an ability to criticize Israel than you ever have before on a place like X. And now it
for
seems
now.
to have been taken to an extreme, I think intentionally,
Mm-hmm.
to the point of where we go back to the Larry Ellison thing. He's got the 80% control. He's about to get and he's the biggest donor to the IDF. The video claimed, and that I know there's at least some truth in that. That I think Bibi Netanyahu loves what he's seeing if he's still alive with his 6 fingers.
I was going to tie it back to that too and be like, also, if the debating element of that is a thing, this feels like the same kind of deal.
Yeah, they're going to shut it all down.
Getting into a quote unquote organic racist type of response and then point to it and be like, see, this is why we can't have free
absolutely.
Like,
and they're going to have these number of lawsuits that come out that are defamation lawsuits that they're going to use as examples. They're going to conflate all conspiracies with anti-Semitism. And then not only will you not be able to question Israel, if you question the next vaccine or the next new mRNA thing, then you are all of a sudden that is an anti-Semitic thing. So all conspiracy speech is anti-Semitic speech, and I think that.
And if you can get someone like Trump or Marjorie Taylor Greene or some figure that is kind of crazy and outspoken that a lot of people hate, and if you get them to say one right thing, like the broken clock is right twice a day kind of thing, then everyone will, because they hate them so much, they'll sweep that in with all the other junk that they say that's complete trash, and they'll say, well, that's wrong too, and then but that's how they can put little bits in that you'll throw away.
That's the model, dude. You just described the model right there. Let's move on to the drunkard of the week.
I am not fucking drunk.
Well, 19th or blue.
Every pretty girl deserves to go to a ball.
This is everything about it's a clam. I love it.
I gotta be honest with you, I feel like I'm a little bit too drunk to stand up.
On Wiedersehen, asshole.
I'm drunk right now.
Did searching your house gave you the right to do everything you
under the circumstance that I got freedom of speech. After they run around my house with guns and kick down my door, I got the right to kick a can in my backyard, use my freedom of speech, turn my bad times into a good time. Yes, I do. And I think I'm a sport for doing so, because I don't go to their house, kick down their doors, flip them off on their surveillance cameras, then try to play the victim and sue them.
You were at Lisa Phillips's deposition, correct?
Yes, sir.
In your lawyer's office?
Yes, sir.
Same office where you filmed part of that video last Friday?
Yes, sir.
And you saw how upset she was when she was answering your lawyer's questions about how this had affected her, right?
Yes, yes.
And you saw your attorney say, do we need to take a break?
Yes.
And you saw her say, no, let's go on and get this over with.
Yes, sir.
You saw all that.
Yes.
You knew she was upset.
Just like she knew I was upset when she was standing in front of my kids with an AR-15 with her hand around the trigger ready to shoot me. Just like she knew I was upset when she cut my cameras. But I'm not a person, she is. So I'm sorry for being a victim. Let's talk about the predators.
Okay. So you saw all that. You saw how upset she was. You heard the testimony about her children. You heard the testimony at the depositions about Randy Newland's daughter who came home upset. You heard all that. But you're still posting stuff about it.
Yeah, because I understand it was Randy's fault and all of their fault for coming in my house in the first place. So if they hadn't came to my house, their children wouldn't be saying nothing. None of this would be going home if they did their research and did things right. So all of this is their fault. And now they want to sue me for their mistake.
Is there anything that could change your mind about what you're doing to these deputies?
Is there anything that can change my mind about the fact that they shouldn't have been at my house in the first place? Is there anything that can change my mind about how my money shouldn't have been touched in the first place? No.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We want to be free to do what we want to do.
Yeah.
We want to get loaded. Yeah. And we want to have a good time.
Okay. Also, even if all that didn't happen, if that didn't even transpire at all, he can make a fucking song about it. Like, it don't even matter. Like, I don't even understand. It doesn't even need the true, like, precedent to even be free speech anyway there. But.
Did you guys watch any of the trial, like the questioning that his
Nick
lawyers
did?
did?
I didn't even see it.
Oh, yeah.
It was so funny. Like, he was asking him, he was saying, he said, because the idea was defamation, that his song Lemon Pound Cake was defaming these police officers. when it was all he's showing the footage of them when they broke into his house. When I met him at the Libertarian Convention with my friend Josh, who was playing Trump, I got a picture of them as best I could during all the chaos. But we said Lemon Pound Cake Man is great because he got them and the cop he said, so you're Lemon Pound Cake. He's like, so the idea was, this is a defamation case and you're saying that these things aren't true. Why are you called Officer Lemon Pound Cake? Then they played the song during the trial. They actually played it and they showed the officer on the stand, like looking over trying to steal the lemon pound cake. It's like, that's why. So this can't be defamation. You're taking the lemon pound cake.
And he while he was on the stand, he's like, when he was asked that, he also said that the station was sent hundreds of lemon pound cakes from people.
Which is so awesome. That's the greatest troll ever, dude. It's the greatest troll ever.
He ate them too, you know.
This woman who was crying, she's like taking smiley photos like a bitch, like just being a bitch in his house. And anybody who saw that, which I think they showed that during trial, is like, I don't feel sorry for this woman at all crying. Look at this bullshit she was doing. And
people don't understand how to own the consequences of their behavior in general, I think sometimes. But this is a perfect example of this. And this man's in his right to, express himself with the way he wants this way. And this is, when it comes to like art, this is a commentary of a public service that he's paying for basically too. And that also was wrong. Like, man,
completely, man. This is the greatest unifier I've seen on social media in a long time. His lawyer had one of the cops on the stand. And with the idea being that this song is defamation, this Lemon Pound Cake song, he asked him, he said, have you ever heard, I can't remember who sings it, but he said, have you ever heard so-and-so song, Wet Ass Pussy?
Yeah, right.
And he started reading the lyrics. And he's like, have you ever, I think it was that woman actually, have you ever seen anybody, do you believe all the lyrics in this? And have your students in a class she taught, you said they were playing this song, Wet Ass Pussy. Do you think that all of it's 100% true? That they're like, is it defamation? So he was equating it to songs and what people say.
Well, and
in
it's
songs.
true. It's because it is a song and it's art. And if we take this as seriously as you're saying it, then we have to take all art as seriously as we're saying it. And we already have laws protecting the creative license with this, especially if it's commentary. But go ahead, Nick.
So the witness that was the only defense witness besides Afro-Man that was called, and it was the ex-wife of one of the cops.
That's right.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She was a teacher.
Yeah, she was a teacher, and so he was going that, and I think she also told them that they all knew what this was going on. They were making bringing lemon pound cakes to their own parties and stuff, dude, on their side they were kind of having fun with each other. Then they get on the stand and they cry about it.
It's so brilliant. And at one point he asked there's one cop that was up there who was asked about whether or not he believes, because part of the song was Afro-Man talking about having sex with his wife. And he asked him if he believed Afro-Man had sex with his wife. Like, he's talking about defamation. And the guy was just like, I don't know if he had sex with my wife or whatever. And it's just like,
because then it puts him in the position you either have to admit that and you have to cut out yourself as a cuck, or
it's just,
you got to say no and defeat the whole argument.
But you have to say no, because you're right. So the argument, he's on the stand saying that, hey, he's defaming me by saying he had sex with my wife. And then the lawyer asks, okay, did he? And you can't say, no, he obviously didn't.
Right.
When he was pushed, the lawyer was like, so you're not,
it's a bad position
you can't tell me, right? So he took the position of, well, I don't know, it could be true on a defamation case where truth is where truth is
absolute defense.
Where truth doesn't matter.
Yeah. This is the greatest thing. I didn't even realize the trial was happening. I
didn't either, honestly.
He wore the same suit at the Libertarian National Convention 2024.
That's cool.
Well, he dropped. I didn't realize it was happening until Monday morning, right as they were about to go to jury selection. He dropped the music video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of a woman
And-
chasing him down the highway.
Well, no. That one was already there. This was, what was it? The Batarram, him of the whatever. And he's just, he's Afro man. It's gonna screw you.
It's a great, like,
yeah.
people been saying that's better than Babe Ruth calling a shot. Absolutely, because he was in the right, and it's not like he was denying that he had drugs in his house, but the warrant they went after him for was just extreme. Like, he was kidnapping people, and he had just bricks and bricks of drugs, which
Yeah, it was
none of it turned out
kidnapping
to
and
be true.
trafficking. And
Yeah.
so you find like personal use amounts. It's like,
Yeah.
trying to prosecute that's just not even.
I
gonna
love
be
that. It made me so happy to see that. And
Yeah,
Team Afro, man.
I mean, I think on this one, are we into the good news section? Is that what this is?
I think
Do
this
we
is
have-
the start of the good news
start of the
section.
good news,
do we
right?
have
Yeah.
videos to go with this before we start going over all the videos? And
We don't have videos to go in the good news section.
Oh my God, who's talking?
okay, so we can just
The good news section was the drunkard of the week, or the drunkard of the week was just Afro Man's topic. Good news section is something else.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't
Well,
know
that's
what
good.
it
Y'all can
was.
keep talking about the Afro Man case. That's no problem
Yeah.
at all.
I do for a little
Let's
bit.
talk
more,
about
'cause this
Jake
was-
actually, and how much.
Let's talk
Jake's-
about Jake for a little while.
Yeah.
Let's just sing some
Jake
praises
is like
real
a
quick.
modern day Afro Man. Like Afro Man is a modern day. I see Afro Man in my younger days. His music was very inspirational for women getting on the dance floor and doing
Or getting high.
the kind of dancing you want to do when you're younger. And so now he's got he's he's back again, and he's a very good musician. He's not just a dude who smokes weed and comes up with lyrics. He's actually a great musician.
Well,
I mean, his songs are generally like kind of goofy, and I mean, he's
Totally,
he's
they're
not
fun.
a-
Sure, yeah. He reminds me of like the rap equivalent of almost like Tenacious D or something, like the sense of humor
Yeah, a
with
little
how he
bit.
goes about,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
also like good at what you do. Like
Yeah, and super
yeah.
nice. And
he seems like a cool dude. Yeah.
I think one of the funniest parts was when they had the female cop on the stand, and he called her Lick 'em Low Lisa and made a 13-minute song and music video about it.
And they made
Of
her
him, like
listen to
her chasing him down. They shot this. I believe they shot the part of the music video in the same chair in his lawyer's office where she did her deposition. Like, just
it's
complete
brilliant.
insane
It's the
stuff.
best
there.
troll. I'm so in awe. I'm inspired by this troll.
It was a
And these
13-minute
cops-
video. Yeah, a
dude.
13-minute video, and then his lawyers play it for her in the courtroom, and she ends up breaking down and crying while it was going on. And I don't think anyone felt bad.
And he makes a video after the first or second day of trial. I think after the first day of trial, saying he does this thing where he's got people behind him. He's like, the crooked judge in Adams County police defamation trial is trying to, and he's just like, he's giving shit to he don't give a fuck, dude. And he still won.
And these people are putting on a show, I think, and acting hurt by words, like the sticks and stones type shit, when, they're truly kicking in someone's door with lethal force with his family there. And like, you're going to seriously like have like the gall at this point to like act like you're the victim in all of this. Like, it really feels like fucking just clown opposite day shit. It's very frustrating.
Right.
God damn.
What was the line in the song? He's like, are there any kidnapping victims in my suit pockets?
Yeah.
He shows him he shows the warrant during it's great. He's my hero right now. And if you haven't seen Lemon Pound Cake or any of this stuff, watch it. It's fun, and I actually think that is a great win for the First Amendment right there. So what is the good news section?
Go ahead and read this one out, Binkley.
Okay, so this is actually insane from at Intellect Us. BTEC guy in Australia, he adopts a cancer-riddled rescue dog with months to live. He pays $3,000 to sequence her tumor DNA, feeds it to ChatGPT and AlphaFold, zero background in biology, identify mutated proteins, match them to drug targets, design custom mRNA cancer vaccine from scratch. Genomics professor is gobsmacked that some puppy lover did this on his own. Need ethics approval to administer it. Red tape takes longer than designing the vaccine. 3 months, finally approved. Drive 10 hours to get Rosie her first injection. Tumor halves. Coat gets glossy again. Dog is alive and happy. A professor says, if we can do this for a dog, why aren't we rolling this out to humans?
We need to protect this man. He's going to die next Thursday.
And then it says, one man with chatbot and $3,000 just outperformed the entire pharmaceutical discovery pipeline. We are going to cure so many diseases, I don't think people realize how good things are going to get. There's the article right there. That's great. I mean, I'm as a dog lover, that makes my heart warm.
Oh, yeah.
I had a dog literally named Rosie, so this is a borderline a tearjerker for me.
Yeah, I know that's going to raise questions about mRNA and testing and whatnot.
mRNA is a tool, and it can be used for good or ill.
Good,
man.
I agree with that. So
That's what it was initially developed for cancer treatments, not vaccines, right? So
that's what I heard from what's his name, Robert
Malone.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're looking at it, and you've got the technology sitting there, and for a couple $1,000 you can go and target that. I mean, you're talking about cancer here, that it's not like you're injecting this as a cancer vaccine to everyone. You're saying, okay, you have these mutations, I'm going to create this, like, you are going to die without the right treatment, so let's do something that's probably going to work. Or
I mean, CRISPR can make a tastier tomato or a zombie plague. I don't know, like, it's all in how you use something.
Gravynomics, who looks a lot like a guy named Mitch that I know in that picture, says,
no relation.
Some of that good chat GPT cancer fake vaccine. This mRNA stuff, the way they did it with COVID was some people said they just want to kill a bunch of people. I don't know that was the intent. I think the idea was, I think it's life extension technology that they want to develop and perfect. And I think that they wanted to test on a whole bunch of different demographics to expedite the development of it without their permission, is my belief. And
are you talking about like COVID?
I'm talking about the way they did it with COVID, with the mRNA.
As an experiment.
And so
I think it was also a social experiment. I feel like we were experimenting on levels, man. It was like experimentception.
I think if people agree to it, I think if they agree to an experimental testing of something, then that's fine. And I think this is kind of one of those situations where this dog
agree under pressure, though, is different than. You know what I mean? Like, if you're like, hey, you'll lose your job, that's different than just agreeing.
You take the shot, black person, I'm Fauci. Then, that's not agreeing. It's
perfectly safe. Like,
right. No, I agree. So that's, when it comes to this, because the mRNA stuff is very controversial. And I don't think its purpose is to kill people. I think that they want to perfect it so they can live forever. So
but then gatekeep that,
yes, of course, right.
And this is the same thing.
Get killed, like you said, he's dead. His dog is probably.
Dude, I'm worried about it because I was just going to bring up. We've seen this with people that have invented fucking engines that are more efficient, and then it's like
the water-based engine.
Don't make a bunch of them, And there's literally laws that are. I think it's like if it's more than 70% more efficient than the current average engine or whatever, that it automatically gets like locked away. It's actually like a national defense level, some kind of law like that. It has to be sequestered from use or whatever, because which is just so fucked up. But I wonder if we're going to end up in a place where we have health level things like this, where if it's something's like, oh, it can extend your lifespan past how much, and it's like, nope, that's not for you. Like,
or it'll be censored on. You ask ChatGPT or Grok, you ask it. You put in all that information, and it censors itself, like you're trying to get it to say the hard R. I can't say it.
Yeah. Trying to get it to like show you boobies or like say a racist word, and it's like, no, we can't do that. And also, we can't help humanity past a certain point either. Like,
that kind of thing. I hope this is true with the dog, but also it is in isolation. So it is good news. The good news in that is that a dog that had cancer seems to be doing well again, and that warms my heart.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, it's not a treatment. Well, let's also look at this. This isn't a cure that came out of big pharma. I mean, like, a lot of the stuff is, but it's not like it was some big pharma product that this. Right. It was a guy who was like, all right,
It's
let's
little
sequence
harm.
this and then target this, and just some random guy use the AIs to figure out something that seems to have worked.
Yeah,
and the dog is doing well.
This is also
from it.
one case,
So-
and like we don't fully even know if this is like coincidence or if correlation
Right.
equals causation and blah blah blah. But
So if I had a, if
you
I
can
had a
design
dog
experiments on that,
I would
and keep
contact this
doing it.
guy. Like
Yeah.
if I wanted to, if I had a dog who I felt was in a similar situation, I would
Right.
contact this guy.
let's
and
meet
see
for
if
lunch
I-
at a place
if I
with
could
a
learn-
rooftop nearby, and we can
right, where
just
there's a lot of
talk, like-
people around.
Yeah.
You have a bulletproof helmet on.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I would contact him to find out what could be beneficial, because the instinct might be to try to mimic what this person did. And oftentimes, people who do this stuff, I found from my past with my mom and dad, is if you contact them, they will respond because they do have a genuine interest in helping people.
At this level too, like where they're still not, they're like a normal person that just like helped their dog kind of thing, and like they probably would respond at this point to someone who's
think so.
genuine. I would think at least a high chance.
Get me out of here.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
help you.
yeah.
All right, so I see Jake has skipped trivia to save me from embarrassment.
That was so funny last time though, when you were like, "So I guess I don't know how this goes, do I?" And then just like the trivia like title
Came up,
started.
yeah,
and that,
that's
like,
funny, yeah,
that
yeah.
was actually hilarious.
Yeah,
those-
Binkley,
I
if there's
think-
any topics you want to tackle right now, go for it. Yeah, just do whatever
Let's
you want
talk
at
about
this
abortion. I'm kidding. Let's just-
This really just light fare.
So what's come to top of mind for you guys? Start with you, Alden, and then Nick, just from what we've talked about.
I am curious / a little scared of how we're gonna go in the broader cultural sense of like where we get our news looks like we were bringing up earlier. And since you brought that up as like an option for what if this is just like a bait thing, I'm like, ooh, man, that's been top of my mind through this whole talk. I've been worried that is the case. And if like Netanyahu is like sipping on a margarita somewhere totally fine or whatever, or if there's someone in a mask sipping on a margarita, whatever, I don't know. I don't care.
Right.
But if the whole point of this was to be a sort of like a test and a bait and to get people to break their trust in alternative media sources or whatever, I'm concerned about a reverting back to mainstream media at this point, especially when it's even gotten just more and more swallowed. And we were also talking about the whole basically 80%. It's like we were just talking about the Pareto distribution rule like last week or whatever, like the 80-20 rule or whatever, where it's like now 80% of your news comes from one fucking source or whatever, basically.
Right. It
That
looks like
is-
different sources.
Yeah. And it looks like a variety and option. That's concerning me. But I have hope that there's enough good people out there that, understand this, that we can kind of fight the good fight on it and keep it from going into just fucking monopoly craziness with it. But that's been consuming my thoughts since this.
Yeah, and I think for me the key to that is people not getting butthurt when people disagree with them and being able to have a discussion.
There's an
recognizing-
individual side of it that is very true. Like the individual side of like your emotional regulation or whatever this is coming from someone who has their own challenges with emotional regulation or whatever. But but the ego side of things.
Go more into that. Tell us more.
Oh yeah. Let's go
kidding.
dive into my mental health. That's a great idea.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
In modern society, it makes it easy for all of us to have, to get a little like wild sometimes. I think, and for me, it's like and it's so logically, it makes perfect sense, but we're not logical beings. Our emotions dominate our logic. It's
some more than others, I think, but we all.
Well, I
are
think we can
emotional
get
beings.
better at it. I think we can all become more Spock-like. I think we all can at recognizing it.
Just separating them. Like it's not saying emotions are bad, but it's just like this is not the place for emotion to rule
like
us.
it's not a personal insult when somebody disagrees with you. And if you're having a conversation and the goal is to confirm what you believe versus the goal being trying to actually open your mind to a truth that might be something that you don't actually believe right
Attach
now.
your ego to a goal that will actually kind of like serve you through the course of this. That's a good idea.
It's coming out of the cave. It's like, is your goal coming out of Plato's cave? Because if
Plato's cave, dude.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite, the allegory of the cave is one of my favorite pieces of writing of all time.
I think right now it's never more like it's because, that allegory, you come out of the cave, you see the shining bright light, and that it's blinding and it's painful.
And you see real 3D images instead of shadows for the first time. And
Exactly.
then you go to tell people this thing you found.
You have to
and they're
reorient
like,
yourself first. You have to reorient yourself and realize that everything you previously believed wasn't true.
Yeah.
And holy cow. And that is painful in and of
It can
itself.
be shattering. That's true.
A lot of people
I don't
go
mean to
back
breeze
in.
over it. You're totally right.
And then you go tell people and they want to kill you. Is the whole idea.
Then they're like, yeah, burn the witch. Yeah.
They just want to kill you. And so that's kind of what it's like when you point out that there might be some deception going on. And that doesn't mean the person pointing out is always wrong, but the way that as society is we all have to and I think more people are recognizing that as we see people are more exposed to propaganda tactics and whatnot, is that the way to get to the truth is to separate ourselves from our preconditioned beliefs about media and what's going on in the world. And
For sure.
Like make the thing that's important be discovery of truth, and that's the cool thing. And like it's cool to realize that maybe oh shoot, I was wrong about something. This might be the right thing. That's cool. Instead of holding on to something as like a pride and ego thing.
Even if you have the ego, I like what you're saying about almost like it's like redefining what it can look like to have an ego, where you're like, wait a minute. If I want to be right.
Right.
Then the best way to be right is to accept that
true.
I need to be wrong and then find the right thing. Like the first time you do anything, you're not going to be the best at it. If you drive a car, cook a steak, whatever the hell it is. Politics is no different. I have said before, though, that I think that when it comes to things like culture and politics or whatever, it's kind of like a soft consequence. Like it's not quite as obvious. Like if you burn a steak and it tastes like booty hole and it's like, you're like, all right, I'm willing to admit I fucked it up. I need to let's go look a recipe up.
So how did you know it tasted like that?
No, you haven't had booty hole? No, but for real though, if you go to work on your car and you're like, I can change my oil, and you put the wrong kind of oil in, it's too viscous or whatever, and it doesn't work for your car, and you fucking stall out on the highway, you're like, I'm an idiot. Here's this very physical consequence, this tangible thing that I can see that and then I think you go through that humbling where you feel like an idiot, but you get over it. But if there's a way to skirt around it when it's not as in your face, concrete, obvious, I think we do skirt around it a lot. And politics is like that, where there's there's always someone out there to tell you you're right. And it's not the same thing as just my car blew up or something fucking apparent,
Yeah. No, and I think people they're not so brightest when they're the ages between 18 and 25.
I'll say this about myself.
And I think they target younger people. Myself too.
I think so too, actually. Yeah. Well, and we've seen this with look at Nazi Germany or whatever. Everyone points to Nazi Germany. I love looking at Nazi. But they would go into the schools and they would be like, ask your God for candy or whatever, and make the kids. And then they would be like, now pray to Hitler for candy. And they would bring in trash bags. Have you seen this footage where they bring in the candy and stuff? And they were like, pray to Hitler for candy. And then by the end, the kids are like, Hitler. So they know though the start with the kids, but I think that we know this ourselves and we do it a different way. But
you don't even have to give people an X candy and they will chant Hitler.
Oh yeah, well yeah, sure. Yeah. we don't even need candy now.
Yeah. Nick, candy? What are your thoughts and takeaways from what we've discussed?
Yeah, no, kind of like what Alden was saying at the beginning there, and a whole lot of the discussion, the whole news landscape now that we have these AI videos coming out and we don't know what's real or what's not. I mean, it's so hard to tell. I mean, you start looking, it's like, is that video AI? Is that real? You look at enough videos that you're trying to determine if they're AI or not, and you're like, you start kind of questioning what reality is because you can't trust anything your eyes see at this point. And then on top, even if it's not AI, people pulling old footage and then passing it off as, oh, look at this strike, and then you're checking, and they're like, no, this happened here,
or a video
and
game.
This happened here,
too.
and so.
A quote from the CIA, by the way, back in the day, is apparently that their goal was to make it people question what is real and not know how to discern reality, basically. But
yeah,
sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Did you hear Gerald to say he snuck Israel in there? That question what is real? We see. What
Israel! I didn't even catch that.
See what you're doing.
That's funny. That's actually, you're kind of actually cracking into a whole weird whole thing with like the power of word and whatever, but we do not have a long enough episode for that. But
yeah, linguistics of propaganda and when I continue, Nick.
Basically, like spell casting shit.
That was definitely something on my radar this past week, and it had me concerned as I'm looking at these videos claiming, oh, this is a bombing of this, and then the community notes say, no, it's not. Grok says this, and so now you have to spend the time and discern everything of, is this real? Is it AI? No, it's real. Okay, was this saying what it is when it was, or is this some other? And you start seeing big accounts doing it, and it's like, are they either doing it at someone's behest, or are they getting fooled by someone else?
So inorganic or organic, and then the next person that they impact, it's the same thing, and it's a ripple effect.
That's gonna force a move back to some sort of trusted source. And with 80% of the media and all the back end infrastructure, Oracle seems, the Ellison family seems to really be positioned for it, which is quite interesting to see everything kind of align on that. But beyond that, I just really enjoyed the Afro Man trial this week.
Yeah.
I was watching clips of that, and I was watching, I watched the what is it? I caught the clips on Tuesday, and then I was watching. I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. By the time I got it on Monday, and I was watching, they had finished the testimony of the cop's ex-wife. And so that they were breaking, and I watched the closing arguments and jury instructions, and seeing a lawyer have to stand there in the courtroom and make a quote of "I fucked your wife doggy style" is just hilarious.
That was
so specific,
so great. I went to law school for 2 years before I quit to spend the rest of my life doing comedy to pay back all the debt I went in to go to law school.
So you know about getting fucked doggy style?
Yeah, well, by financially.
Right, yeah, of course, that's what I meant.
But watching him, I was like, man, so if I would have known, I could have been his lawyer, and I could have gotten to do, because his lawyer is just as pimp as he is, dude. like his getting to do say that stuff, and it was so much fun to watch. I loved it.
Do you think that has helped you though? Like your background in this has helped you in your current? Because I would think so.
It's definitely when it comes to asking the right questions. The whole thing in law school, and it's the same thing with
and how you set things up in your mind is like
I know that if I, as a conspiracy theorist, and I'm very much a conspiracy theorist, that if I want to, I know that everybody's going to attack your argument in the mainstream hard, super hard. They're going to go after you. So I have to know what all those arguments are going to be.
Yep.
And so I have to I have to come after my own arguments the same way that they're going to times 10, so that I know exactly so I can dispatch of them, and so that they can't just dismiss whatever. And so that's why I get frustrated when I see the jump on anything and just roll with it, with jumping to conclusions, glossing over details. I'm like, look, we're all called conspiracy theorists. And we're all we gain so much credibility, but we're all going to look bad if we all just start falling into this bait and not doing the thing that we did during COVID, which is make better arguments than them. And we have to go after conspiracy theories that are raised just as hard as we do the mainstream arguments, and not just believe them just because they're conspiracy theories, because that makes us so vulnerable to being baited. I think
I want two terms. I want a distinguishing term for conspiracy theorists that just blindly just goes along with anything that is almost the conformist of conspiracy theory. What'd you say?
Candace Owens.
Oh, just the blanket approach, and then the discerning one.
Conspiracy analyst.
Analyst. Oh yeah, conspiracy analyst. Right. Yeah. I'll take that. But yeah, because I do feel like there's just this one term that is kind of this blanket term now, which, by the way, was either created or
it was a CIA definition.
That's CIA,
yeah.
And then again, Obama's administration. I think right now there's going to be a declassified document in years. It's going to lay out what's happening right now. I think,
and it'll be half redacted, and we'll get just enough of it, and then the people that do it, no one will care. Like I see so many things that come out where it's like actually released in public information, and everyone's like, yeah, I don't care. It's frustrating.
No, right, because it comes so much later, and right now, like I see these.
That's why they have the 40-year, 50-year release thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because people don't fucking care past a certain point. They know what they're doing.
It's really lately over the Charlie Kirk thing. It has really divided the alternative media, conspiratorial.
How do you follow
media.
that?
Well, I don't know what the answer to any of it is.
Going back to we don't have to have a full picture thing. That's fair,
it's a challenge because you have. So I know, and you guys know how a trial works, and
I don't, but that's okay.
But the way that it works is you get an indictment, and the indictment is not the full case. The indictment is not the conviction. The indictment is enough to arrest somebody, and then you have a full case that lays out the details of the trial. And all you need to do is get enough for the indictment to arrest somebody, okay? And so when the trial happens, which it might, I think it should happen quickly, and I think it should happen. It should definitely be public, or
some would say swiftly.
Swiftly,
yeah,
far more suspicion. But so when that happens, and you have on the other side of it, you have, and I always have to qualify this. I have criticized Candace Owens and TPSU and Charlie Kirk for years, like for 5 or 6 years since I first encountered them. I have thought TPSU was a cult.
What the hell's TPSU?
Do what?
What's TPSU?
TPUSA, whatever Charlie Kirk's organization.
I didn't even realize. Oh, okay, that's how little I know about.
They came off to me as they're arranging marriages. It's a weird thing, and right before he died, I was very critical of him, and I felt bad about it afterwards. I've been called a 7K Israel shill, and even though I've criticized this group far before any of these other cocksuckers who suddenly are trying to get popular off of that idea.
Yeah.
And so Candace used to work. It's crazy that Candace used to work for all these people and got paid. Candace was actually working. She was still under contract with TPUSA, Turning Point.
Really?
December 2025, still getting paid by them, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Most people don't realize that. And Candace has been nothing but I've had firsthand experience with people who made a living being con artists. And that's what Candace is. That's what she's been. That doesn't mean she doesn't say true things. People who are con artists lie using the truth. You can't lie without using the fucking truth.
Stories from her. Like I'm not like a huge follower. So like I've only seen like I'll click on her thing. Like she did a whole thing on like Michael Jackson one time, and I like watched that, and I was interested in it. But I'm not, honestly, I can't speak.
No, some of the stuff she says is true, and I agree with. But she'll be like, "Can you believe the JFK assassination?" People say, and so she'll say a bunch of things that.
What's her take on JFK? I have no idea. Like,
no, she's like, I don't believe it was. She believes Israel did it. I don't believe it was one shooter. So she says it wasn't. People think it's one shooter, and so she says a bunch of easy bait that get people who are conspiracy theorists to agree with her. And mind
in the vague sense, like
she's number one on YouTube, and she says things that some of the things she says are true. I've said for years that have gotten my videos taken down. And
of course, yeah.
And so why is she up there saying that? I think she's up there saying that because she also goes to the way extreme to where she says stuff like, the Jews are blood libel, and it's crazy that Erica Kirk thinks it's not right to have hatred towards the Jews. Like she says stuff like that everybody gets branded who's a conspiracy theorist as having that. And when you read her,
so do you think she's like a plant a little bit?
She's either on purpose or she's just a useful idiot. And she's married to this British lord. I think she's going to move to the UK. But she says all the things that would get all of us banned that people go along with. And I don't think they watch all of her stuff. I think they see the clips. And I'm like, look, I wouldn't attach yourself to this person because this is not a good person. This is a person who has been nothing but she's been arrested for abuse in the past.
If I've learned anything, it's attach yourself to ideas, not people.
That's exactly right. Who cares what mouth it comes out of? Analyze the information.
Yeah.
And so like that, where I stand on that is I don't know what the answer is. And from what you said, it's like, I don't care who says something. It's like, look at the information. And
Hitler could
decide
say,
based on
love your
that.
neighbor. And I'll be like, you know what? That's a good, I'm going to live by that. That's fine. Whatever. Or we agree. But it's not because he said it. I'm also not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Exactly.
If he says, love your neighbor, I'm also not going to go like, you know what? Hitler said it. I'm going to fucking go shoot
Hitler
my
likes
neighbor.
dogs,
Like,
you know,
because he
it's
was
the
a
same
bad
type
guy.
of shit.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing about the thing about, I think she is one of I don't know if she is on purpose. I think she doesn't care personally, but the discrediting of the alternative media, with her being able to say things on YouTube on such a big platform, so many of them which have been put into these lawsuits against her. So people are like the Macron lawsuit. They're like, Macron's definitely a man, blah, blah, blah. And I always ask them, have you read the lawsuit? Have you read the defamation? Some of them don't even know. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, there's a 200-page court document. And it lays out all of the claims against her. And that document doesn't even need the is Macron a man thing. It doesn't even, you could actually probably throw that one out, and I think she probably will lose. And that loss will be a precedent for free speech, because in that document, it attaches stuff like she claimed the conspiracy about the vaccine. She was an so it claims real conspiracies, and it attaches them to things like Macron, the husband, the president, was part of the Stanford experiment.
This is what I was talking about earlier, where like you have one person that espouses a bunch of bullshit and then throws in like a true thing with
That's
it.
exactly right, to discredit.
And muddies the waters with it to discredit, yes, the source or the cause. Yeah.
And I tell people that, and people who really love her call me a 7K shill. I'm like, you obviously have, like, I'm obviously the furthest thing from that. What I'm trying to tell you is that Bibi Netanyahu is her biggest fan. And
that should raise an eyebrow. Like I'm on the fence with her. Like I'm in the place because I'm just listening to you because I don't know a ton about her. Like I said, I've seen a handful of videos, but
I think she's the greatest like propagandist of our age.
That's interesting though, and like I'm interested in like where the money comes from and what her motivations are. But like I said, I've seen shit like she'll put a video out of Michael Jackson. I feel like that's like sort of like on the side, like it's not as part of the like current, you know.
I think there's truth to some of that. Then that's the difficult part, is saying I think there's truth to something that I think is a propagandist. So that's the whole thing. It's where it's like, if you dislike
Alex Jones
somebody,
will say something sometimes, you're like, oh, that's probably true, and then he'll also be a raging idiot the next minute, and you're like, oh god, like
it's
crazy. And I don't want to defend him as a person.
Yes.
Again, I will defend one idea at a time. One thing at a time, please. Like, he said this one thing that's true. Let's go into that. But people will be like, oh, but he said it. And I'm like, no, I don't care. Like, he could say that fucking strawberries are aliens. I don't care. Like
well, fuck strawberries as well.
Right. We need to blow them strawberries out of space.
To that point, where it's the best way. So Edward Bernays wrote about this 100 years ago. Is the people who are going to be sent to propagandize us are going to be the ones that we identify with and like the most, and are
of course that's the vessels that would work through. Like
not the opposite ones. So if you want to get somebody to believe something that's not true, you put it in the mouth of someone they're least likely to question. This influencer. If you want them to disbelieve something that is true, you put it in the mouth of someone they don't like. So that's why it pisses me off when Tim Pool or Ben Shapiro or somebody says something that I've been saying for months, because I can no longer say it.
Oh my God, dude, you're living my, I understand. I'm not in the position that you are. I don't have like the podcast and the audience and the same thing, but I even get frustrated. I was outlining a fucking book that I was going to write. This was years ago. And it was basically about like a whole, like a vaccine
9/11.
problem or whatever. What did you say?
9/11.
No, you would think actually. And then so I was like outlining this. It was going to be a goddamn trilogy. I was building this whole huge fucking thing I was going to write. And then fucking COVID happened, and I was like, I can't write this fucking book about vaccines. It was the whole fucking thing. It was like going to be the vaccines were the cure that they were already sitting on, that they had, and they made the whole thing on purpose, and there was different fucking pharmaceutical companies, and it went into a whole different like
this is before the vaccines came
out. Dude, I was writing this in 2016 or something. I was like outlining it, but I was too fucking slow on it because I'm lazy, ADHD, whatever you want to call. And I was like still just kind of doodling on it. And then when this happened, it was really weird for me. I was like watching my own sort of creation come into reality. And if you listen to some of the like talks from like Philip K. Dick, for instance, like different like fantasy and sci-fi authors, he's one that he's kind of a weird one, but like was he the one that would take like ketamine and weird shit and like get into his space, and he would say that he was like more of a like a antenna receiver kind of a thing for ideas. He's like basically saying I write what comes to me, but he's like I'm tapping into like a possible future kind of a thing. Like he's, you know, he thought of himself as basically like an informant of a possible future, like a warning against kind of a storyteller, not like, which is interesting because we were talking about the ego earlier. And as an artist, I've kind of gone through some work with this myself where I'm like, am I coming up with it? Am I creating it? Or am I just kind of like tapping into something as well that's like, and honestly, I'm afraid to even talk about some of the other story ideas I've had that involve the fucking government and UFOs and aliens or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want that to come true. God damn it. I'm afraid to outline another book. Like, anyway, so I feel you on a different kind of side, like a creative side where you're like, well, motherfucker, now I feel like I can't talk about this from this angle because now it's happening this way.
No, not being able to talk about things has been the most disheartening thing to me to see in the alternative and conspiratorial and libertarian media is that being able to ask good questions and disagree and embracing nuance was what made those groups better, and that has disappeared in my opinion. Recently.
I used to even not mind NPR way back in the day, and now they've gone like full the one side kind of a thing. But there was a time when they asked questions and embraced nuance, and I was okay with that. You know, when I was a fucking kid, like because now I'm old apparently, like. But that's not the case anymore.
Well, we went off on a tangent, which was sanctioned by Jake.
Sanctioned by our leader, yeah.
I don't know. Nick, tell everybody you're running for office. Tell everybody what you're doing, where they can find you, and how they can help you.
Well, internal office.
No, wait, are we in the, go ahead and do it. Then
yeah. So this weekend's the Libertarian Party of Pennsylvania convention. I'm running for state vice chair. If you're in Pennsylvania and a member, come on out and vote and support me. If you're not, if you're in Pennsylvania and not a member, it's too late for this year. But we are always looking for more people. We have candidates, we have people running. We're trying to, see what we can get with, running people. The, Pennsylvania is such a divided state. It's like the purplest of purple states.
The Eagles and the Steelers, man.
Yeah, I mean we're talking about I think one seat. I think it's a 1 seat difference in the House of Representatives. I think there's one more Republican representative than there is Democrat. Like it's that tight.
Wow, that's close.
Democrat governor. Like it's such a very tight thing that one state rep election can change. Can. Even not winning, but could it flip it? Is there influence, or you go after someone who's really, really bad and make them lose? And there's a lot of things that could be done and targeted, or the Pennsylvania, but PA has the I think it's the next to largest state legislature after New Hampshire, so we're huge as far as the number of reps, and they're full time and get paid like $120,000 a year.
Yeah,
to do who knows what. So there's a lot of room to play games there and see how you can influence it. And really, to make that happen, to be effective, it takes people, it takes volunteers, it takes people willing to step up as candidates, people willing to help them in that, people willing to support. And you might not win, but you've got to take little steps where you can and try to get whatever wins you can. And I'm hoping that by stepping up and taking the role of vice chair, which the way the rules we have lay it out, kind of that position's focused on running a lot of operations internally. I already try to do a lot with that. So this is kind of me kind of taking the formal title of a lot of the stuff that I've do anyway right now. I'm trying to lay out, goals and have sort of more guidance so that when people step up to the volunteer, you have your teams that already exist, that you can that we kind of have goals outlined. And then, the next step is to work with them and would be to work with them to break it down into tasks and improve that, communication, both down from the board to them, like, hey, here's the expectations of how we want to see things go. And then also kind of get that progress report back, get that feedback loop, and allow that communication, that feedback to create a better,
Improve
great
the
tangible
process.
results. Yeah, great tangible results. Try to create standard operating procedures and processes so that you're not reinventing the wheel every time someone burns out and steps out. Right. These are all problems you see whenever it's that you see people, they're in for a little bit. They either get so involved, they burn out that they just, I can't do this anymore. And then you hope maybe in the future you can bring them back, or they, there's so much going on, they can't find a place. And then rather than engaging and doing something, they kind of just fade away. So
you're creating like a process for that's sustainable for the future to people to plug into, as opposed to just something in the immediate.
That would be the goal. Yeah.
That's a good goal.
To try to professionalize and the operational aspect. It's hard, when you're talking about a lot of shitty work that no one ever wants to do needs to get done, right? Like no one wants to call people on hey, your membership's expiring. Can we renew that? But that's something that's got to get done. We've got to have automated emails sending reminders. Hey, your expiration date's coming up. Little things that tell people, hey,
if AI can cure cancer, maybe it can do this.
Yeah, well, there's steps being taken, but we've
the Democrats and Republicans definitely have that set up.
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly.
Well, you have people who professionally fundraise for them, professionally this, that, they're running on, their county parties operate on bigger budgets than we do as a state party.
Right.
That's just the way it is right now. But you try to do that, you get local wins, you build names in the community, right? You got to do the little things in order to get the big result. And the little things aren't easy, they're not fun, and they don't happen overnight. And that's what people fail to realize, and then just go, one presidential candidate can change everything. And it's like, maybe, like, if you have the right person, but like that right person's not Chase Oliver. The right person is never Chase Oliver.
All right, tell everybody again where to find your website one more time. Social media handle.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Nick Zaselski. It's there. I don't really tweet all that much, but I don't try to be as public, right? I mean, I've run for office, right? In 2024, I ran for state treasurer as my first foray of being on the ballot. So I've done a little bit there, but I'm not always the one out in front. I don't need the recognition for this or that. I'm just trying to do do what I can to make things work.
Sounds like the right kind of guy for the job. So everybody check Nick out and support him if you're up in Pennsylvania. Alden, where can people find you or what you're working on?
Oh, I'm nowhere.
Nowhere. Alden is nowhere.
Yeah.
Except right here.
I'm here, I guess, on Thursdays if you want to come yell at me that I'm here.
You have a website? You don't have a social media you want to send people to, an email, an address?
I'm barely on social media. Yeah. I don't have a Twitter, or if I do, I don't remember. No.
Right. Well, all right. Well, check out all of them. You'll find them on Liberty.
If you can find me, let me know where I'm at.
Sometime, let him know. Let him know where he is. If you see him anywhere, document him. And Jake said to do this at the beginning of the show, which I immediately didn't do. You can find me, the Propaganda Report podcast, on any of your podcast listening apps, youtube.com/Brad Binkley, x.com, the Freedom Act Radio. You can find all my links and bios, no feet pics. And I'm on Rumble. I'm on all those platforms. And you can find me at the Helium Comedy Club on the 4th of April. I don't know what time. It's on their website.
Oh, that's cool. You do stand-up?
Tripoli. Yeah, I'll be opening for Sam, and he has another friend who's going to be featuring.
For Sam Tripoli?
Good time. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, Sam's great. We're going to be doing a show there and have a good word. We might be going to Magic City afterwards, so maybe that'll be a good time. So check it out.
Fuck yeah, man. That's super cool.
Check it out. And that's, yeah.
When is this?
This is April 4th.
No
It
way.
should be on the Helium Comedy Club website. I don't.
That's
You better
awesome.
get some tickets and drive down there, Alden.
I might, dude.
Yeah, it'll be
That's
fun.
awesome.
It'll definitely be fun. So check that out. And yeah, Propaganda Fight is my website. Thank you for letting me host, Jake. And it was a good discussion, you guys. I know we went a little bit off topic, but it was fun. And I think we're gonna wrap it up with the fun cooker. Is that?
Hey, Lindsay, why don't you just admit that you're gay and then people won't blackmail you anymore? Why don't you just admit that you're gay and people won't blackmail you anymore?
Fair enough.
It's a really good question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this one's not a video. Government, you have to inspect your car once a year for admissions. Also government.
Yeah, right. You know, if you have a car that's over like 25 years of age, you don't have to get it inspected.
Then it's an antique like me.
This is how I celebrate St. Patrick's Day as an Englishman. First, you need to find yourself a traditional Irish pub. Mine's is a bit of a distance away, so naturally to make up for this, I'm going to go in the car. So I get myself ready, and then as we start the car...
That's terrible.
It's hilarious.
Oh my God, that's so funny, though. Oh,
yeah, it's true. It's true. R.I.P. R.I.P. that guy.
That's it for the night. Binkley.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Alden. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Jake. And we'll talk to you guys next time.